Hello and welcome back to my garden. Today I'm going to start my winter sowing. And for those of you not in the know, I'm in growing zone 8B, Eastern North Carolina. And my ground never freezes. This is the important thing. And when we do get freezes and or frosts, they generally last a few hours. Because it's so warm, generally, I can grow things like carrots here during the winter time. Today I'm going to be sowing numerous carrots along with a couple other things which I'll tell you guys about in a few minutes. But first, did you know I have an Etsy store? Yes, that's right, I'm promoting my Etsy store again because I'm putting up new items up there, and hopefully in the next month or so I have a bunch of new items to be posting up there. Things that may be of an interest to you guys as gardeners. So if you haven't gone over to my Etsy store, please go over to my Etsy store, check it out. Right now, probably the biggest thing that I've been working on is introducing a series of blank note cards. So they'll have a picture. It could be a picture from my garden. It could be a garden meme. It could be an old vintage catalog. I have a wide variety of cards, but they're all blank on the inside, and they're all printed on high quality premium, either gloss paper or photo matte paper. So go check those out. Like I said, there'll be additional products coming up, hopefully in the next month. That'll be, again, maybe of interest to some of you out there as gifts or even for your own garden. Back to what I'm saying today. I'm going to be planting carrots and a few other things. So this bed had some sunflowers in it. You may remember that. It also had, I can't remember what else it had something else in here. Might have been stuff left over from earlier in the year. But today I'm going to start sowing my carrots. So if I sow them today, I want to make sure I have the right label. If I sow them today, they should be ready probably before Christmas, depending upon the weather. If they're not ready by Christmas, they'll be ready after Christmas. And I discovered last year that carrots, as long as they're not in freezing ground, can handle a freeze or a frost. The top growth may get knocked down a little bit, but it'll bounce back up once everything starts warming up. I was harvesting carrots into January. I couldn't believe it. And they all tasted delicious. They were fantastic. This year, my wife says I should do even more carrots, which is what I'm going to do. So we're going to start this bed off first with Sugar Snacks Hybrid. I got these seeds from Burpee, not sponsored. You could probably find them elsewhere. And all I'm just going to do is just sow some rows. You guys have probably all sown carrots before, so this is nothing new or exciting. I'm spacing these about, I don't know, 6 inches apart or so. The package says, sow seeds thinly in rows 12 inches apart. I think 6 inches is fine. I haven't had a problem with that in the past. What I do have a problem with, and maybe some of you guys have encountered this, and if you have, please let me know in those comments below, is seeds not germinating. So when I first started gardening, I would take the carrot seeds, which are very fine, as many of you know. If you haven't started gardening, or if you're not a gardener, carrot seeds are very, very fine. And I would sow them one every couple of inches. Not all carrot seeds germinate, so therefore I'd wind up with a bed this size. Maybe I'd only wind up with 20 or 30 carrots. And honestly, there should probably be almost double that number. But not every seed germinates. It could be for numerous reasons. But what I've learned since is just to oversow. Carrot seeds are, well, as many seeds, they're still fairly inexpensive. They have gone up in price, I've noticed, but still, if out of a package of seeds, I can get, let's say, I don't know, I want to be generous and say 60 carrots. If I can get 60, go to the store and buy 60 carrots for $5. You can't. So you're still ahead of the game if you sow your own. So I'm oversowing. What will happen is once they all start coming up and start germinating, I can then see what, not all these seeds will germinate, as I've already babbled about. But I can then start thinning the carrots and then give them their proper spacing as they grow up. Now I'm not sowing a thick row here. It is fairly thin, but within a 1 inch space, you may have four to 6 seeds. There we go. All right, and I still have some leftover seeds too. So theoretically, out of this bed, I may get 40 to 60 carrots. which would be nice. Just got to cover all these up. Now, I know many of you can't grow carrots outside during the winter time because you're further north than I am in different growing zones and it's far too cold. But if you can grow carrots, if you're in a climate where you can do that in the winter time, let me know below. Am I the only crazy one doing this, or do you live someplace else where it's warm and you too can sow your own carrots? Let's plant a couple more beds. Here in this bed, I'm going to do Scarlet Nantes carrots. I don't know if I've ever done these before. I've done, I think, the Danvers 126 and the Sugar Snacks, but I don't think I've ever done Scarlet Nantes before. If there's a variety of carrot that you like to grow, please let me know down below in the comments. Also, as we're talking about comments here, thank you to everybody who replies or posts or even looks at the YouTube community page. I do appreciate that. If you're not familiar with the YouTube community page, I've got all sorts of quizzes, polls, things that I'm thinking. If I'm going to take a sick day, which I haven't done in a long time, thankfully. If I'm going to take a sick day, I'll post up there saying, hey guys, I'm taking a sick day, it won't be on today. Or something along those lines, but you should go check it out. Many of you have left some great feedback on there. A recent poll is, should I start a topiary garden? Now, I'm not talking about making chickens or fish or something like that out of box, but maybe just some simple balls, cones maybe. That's a little oversowing. Ooh, there's not a lot left in here. Okay. So I way oversowed and there was not a lot in this. This was from Botanical Interests. I'm gonna see if I can pick some of these out, maybe get another row, get 2 rows of these. It's funny, the burpees seem to give you a whole lot more, but that's okay. I have lots of carrot seeds. All right, so these 2 rows are done. Don't know what I'm gonna get out of that, but I'm gonna move my tag to reflect what was going on there. So these 2 rows are gonna be the Scarlet Nantes, and then I think I'll do the rest maybe with those leftover Sugar Snacks. You know, just looking at the burpee seed here, it actually lists that there's 550 seeds in the packet. Botanical Interests goes by weight. Everybody's got their own way of doing things. I'm not going to get a full bed out of this either. And just get a couple of rows here. That's okay though. So I've got half this bed done in carrots. But what I'm going to do is plant something else in the other half. First up, Japanese wasabi radish. And I tried growing this last spring, or this spring. Didn't turn out so well. So now, with the cooler weather's approaching, I'm going to plant the Japanese wasabi radish here in this bed, since I have plenty of space. Okay, that's done. And the last 2 rows are going to be German Giant. German Giant radish. I do like these radishes. They're quite delicious and large, which is nice. I've sown and eaten Cherry Bell. Not a huge fan. They taste fine. They're just very small. And I don't know about you guys, but I like to snack on radishes. So maybe a little bowl of radishes, cup of blue cheese. Mmm, delicious. Cover that up. Alrighty. One more bed. And since I have so many leftover German Giant seeds, and I was only able to do a couple of rows in the other bed, I'm going to do a couple of rows in this bed. And then cover up. And in this last section, which really wasn't planned, but I think it works out pretty well, I'm going to plant some French breakfast radishes. If you've never had French breakfast, they are fun to grow. Like little fingers poking up out of the ground. And just like the carrots, what I will do is, as these grow to maturity, if I see some that are too close together, I will thin them out. This way there's proper spacing between the radishes, giving each plant enough room to grow. There we go. Just cover with dirt. I've already labeled, and voila, we're done. I've begun my winter sowing. All this still needs to be watered in, of course, and I'm not going to bore you guys with that, but I will be watering all this in off camera. There's still more to come because, as I mentioned before, I want to grow more carrots this year than I've ever grown before, and I have quite a few more packets still in the house. I think I may do another bed of radish, and if you haven't followed me in years past, I do grow in my greenhouse over the winter time. Things like salads and more radishes because they can't take the frosts or freezes. So in the greenhouse, it's a bit warmer. They do like the cold. They just don't like the freezes or the frosts on their leaves. So being in the greenhouse, they're protected. What I did a couple of years ago was I built myself a box and I filled that up with potting soil and I sow into that. And I get myself a little crop there during the winter time, and it puts the greenhouse to use, which is what I always wanted it for, to try to be able to grow in all 4 seasons. There's still so much more coming up. There's obviously the cleanup of the vegetable garden. Although it may look somewhat lush right now, it is an absolute mess, and there were so many failures or disappointments this year. I have peanuts that I'm going to be harvesting soon, turmeric, sweet potatoes, of course, lemons, that'll probably be in December, along with the oranges, which is weird, but that's the way that goes. And there's a variety of other projects that'll be coming up soon. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. Sophie here would much appreciate it. She has been awesome today and enjoying being outside, but it is starting to get a little too warm for both of us. So with all that being said, we're going to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.